Good evening, everyone, and welcome to New Normal, New World, see exclusively on Sustainable PHTV. We were formerly Luchi's channel, and 1 year ago, when we started our webby show, we had aimed to guest people from different sectors and arenas so that we could discuss the effects of pandemic. And over that year, we have discovered that there are several layers to the pandemic, and it has allowed us to deepen our exploration into what the pandemic is and how it's affected people. That's why we have taken a different direction by deepening the program and by calling it from Luchi's channel to New Normal, New World. So, welcome to New Normal, New World. So, my name is Ian Enriquez, and this evening joining me is our co host, Kathy Solis. Hi, Kathy.
Hello, good evening, Ian, and good evening to all of our viewers. We have a long title now, New Normal, New World.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for all of those who have joined us for the past year, 1 year, the Yung Luchis channel, and then yeah, we have rebranded into this longer title. Last week, Ian, no, 2 weeks ago, actually
Yeah.
2 weeks
2 weeks
ago,
ago.
because we're airing now
Other
every other
Thursday.
Thursday at 8 p.m. We had Kian Kazemi. So he is a restaurateur. He is the founder and the CEO of his restaurants, which
Mhm.
are yung Persia Grill, Lobo, and Kite. Most of his branches are in the CBDs,
Mhm.
so in Makati and then BGC area. So he said that definitely the food business, the restaurant business has been badly affected, and
Mhm.
he said that he needed to pivot his business by being creative, and
Mhm.
he is doing reselling. So he is into frozen food. So the food items that people really love are now packed into as frozen food and delivered to the homes of the patrons. So
Nice.
tonight we learned so much from him. He said that his inspiration and the wisdom that he has is from his father, and I know that keeps him going, and that enables him to think clearly and positively, and he's still hopeful for the future. Now being he is married, a married man now, and he has two children. So
Uh-huh.
he is thinking of the next generations that he needs to build up on his um, business, kasi he would have to pass this on to the next
Mhm.
generations of the Kazemis. So there. So
Yes,
Ian,
absolutely.
so
So,
Ian, would you
from
like?
2 weeks ago,
Mhm.
this evening, yep. Okay.
Go
So,
ahead.
this evening, we will be going deep into one of the layers that we mentioned earlier that we discovered. And that layer is about a socially significant area in our society, Philippine society, which we see each day, which is all too familiar. That area of social concern is street children. So this evening we will be discussing about their plight, and we have a guest who will inform us about exactly what the situation is and what's being done and how we can participate to help provide solution and support to the street kids.
So ladies and gentlemen, we invited for tonight on this topic the Executive Director of Child Hope. Hello, good evening, Doc. Hello.
Hi, good evening, Kathy and
Good evening,
Ian, and
Doc.
congratulations on your first year.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you for being here, Doc.
My
And
pleasure.
well, incidentally, Ian, yung sister ni Doc is my friend. So I used to work with her back in
Mm.
ABS-CBN. So si Joey Carpio. Hello, Joey. So there. So kamusta, Doc? Kamusta ka naman?
Well, we're good. I'm good. So far, so good amidst the challenges of the pandemic. I'm glad that my family, my parents, and a lot of my relatives are relatively safe.
That's good to know. So, Doc, okay, ano tayo? We'll dive into the street kids topic. So, um, ano ba, ilan ba talaga, Doc, ang street kids na ina-address natin or tinutulungan natin?
Oh, magandang tanong yan, Kathy, no? Kasi there are conflicting statistics about street children. If you see the statistics given by the government, you could see that there's around mga 3,000 street children lang all over Metro Manila. But for us NGOs working with street children, we peg it in between 50,000 to about 75,000 street children. It's because there has been challenges in the categorization of street children.
Mm.
So yung 3,000, yes, they are street children, but we think that these are the ones who are yung mga common na stereotype street children that people see, yung mga abandoned and neglected. Actually, relatively the smallest percentage of street children in Metro Manila. But there
Okay,
are
so
others.
so may iba-iba palang categories, no?
Yes.
And Ian, so sige, Doc, can you tell us more about the classifications of the street kids and kamusta ba sila ngayon?
Okay. I think I want to share my my
Share screen?
slides. Okay, sige.
Sige, Doc. Hi, Georgie. Georgie is watching. For those who are tuned in right now, please, you may comment or ask Doc questions. Ano lang siya, he is available to answer your questions. Okay, sige, we'll add to the stream now. Doc screen. All right. Yes, Doc.
Okay. So I'm from Childhood Philippines Foundation Inc. A little on our organization. We are a not-for-profit NGO and we work towards promoting the rights and welfare of street children in the Philippines. Actually, we work towards uplifting the lives of the children from the sufferings that are brought about by working and living on the streets. So, as I've said, our beneficiaries are street children, and when we talk about street children, we go by the definition popularized by UNICEF in 1993 that a street child is a boy or girl aged under 18 years when in the streets has been the source of livelihood or habitual abode. Ibig sabihin, halos doon matira-tira yung bata, and that there are no responsible adults to protect, guide, and direct them. So, these are the categories actually of street children. No, there are three categories that you will see, especially in Metro Manila. The biggest category, comprising about 70% of the total street children population, are what we call children on the streets or the community-based ones. So community-based kasi, meron pa silang bahay na tinutuluyan after they stay on the streets for a long period of time. So, karamihan sa kanila still have relatives or families, and then most of them still go to school, and then after going to school, they stay on the streets because yung family or relatives nila are working on the streets. So, it's either they help them or they go kung ano ginagawa nila, naglalaro, pwedeng tumutulong doon sa kabuhayan na nandoon sa streets, ano. But as I've said, at the end of the day, uuwi sila. Meron silang bahay na tinitirahan, but most of them live in urban poor areas also. So we go to the second category, which are the children of the streets or children of street families. Ito yung more common na nakikita natin na nakatira sa kariton, under bridges, or in abandoned buildings, or in vacant lots. Ano? Sila naman, they comprise about 20%, 20 to 25% of the total street children population. So karamihan din sa kanilang nag-aaral based on our statistics on our beneficiaries, no? And more or less, meron pa silang relatives or guardians. Yun nga lang, 24/7, they're exposed to the harshness of being or staying on the streets. Yung third category, the completely neglected and abandoned street children, ito yon, yung mga talagang walang magulang, walang guardians. Sila, they are prone to forming yung mga groups or yung mga tinatawag natin, binabansagan natin ng mga gang. But the gangs are actually, based on our own experience, no, these are not, they don't form this just because they wanted to do something illegal. But this is actually for their own mutual protection because they are the ones who are most commonly prone to being abused by, especially by adults around them in the streets. Kasi nga, mahirap mag-protect ng sarili dahil bata. So yun yung karaniwang ginagawa nila. Okay, so those are the categories of street children. Kaya dyan nagkakaroon ng confusion with regards to the statistics. Why do they stay on the streets? First and foremost, the reason is really poverty, especially economic poverty, because the parents do not have enough resources or income to provide for even the basic needs of the child. So they are forced to go out of the confines of their families or of the community to eke out a living and help with their parents or their relatives. No? Second one, about 50% of our beneficiaries are actually coming from dysfunctional families. And when we say dysfunction, this is prone to them being abused physically, emotionally, psychologically, even sexually abused. So kaya sila umaalis sa kanilang mga families and they stay on the streets. And the third one, the third top reason is we don't discount the fact that the freedom that they experience while they stay on the streets is really enticing. Oo. Dahil walang responsibilities, no one to tell you what you need to do. So they stay on the streets because of the freedom that they experience. So these are some of the pictures that you would see if you think of street children. So they live in sidewalks, they sleep there. Some of them are into sniffing contact cement or glue or yung tinatawag natin commercially na rugby. And a lot of them are into begging to provide for themselves or even yung mga scavenging plastics or anything that they could sell so that they could get income. However, with Child Hope's intervention, these are actually former street children who have underwent our program, and we have helped them to be able to graduate and now provide for themselves and their families also. So one of the people here, one of the graduates here is now with us working as an accounting assistant. We have a teacher graduate, we have a seafarer, merong CPA, meron kaming napag-graduate ng aircraft mechanic. So marami ng success stories actually with regards to helping street children. Because Child Hope has been around actually for 30 years already.
Okay.
Okay, so how did Child Hope do that? So we provide opportunities for education, we provide psychosocial interventions, we have health and medical services, and we provide different activities and opportunities for skills development. So the banner program of Child Hope is the Street Education and Protection Program, or the STEP program, and this is anchored on the pillars of caring, healing, and teaching. This provides a very holistic approach into addressing the needs of street children that undergo our program. So when we talk about the pandemic that started in 2020, no, there were actually three major concerns that arose. There from our beneficiaries, the children. So there was food security, concerns on food security. There are a lot of health concerns, and of course, fear and anxiety, which is related to mental health also.
Mhm.
So within 2020, if you see this timeline, we actually had to temporarily suspend our operations way back in March when
Mm.
the community quarantine was imposed. Kaya lang we received a lot of messages, and our social workers, our street educators, even though we suspended the operations for how many days, they were always on the lookout for the welfare of the children that they handle. So marami kaming natanggap na reports, especially messaging us through our social media, especially in Facebook, na please help us, kailangan namin ng tulong, ano ba ang pwede namin gawin, natatakot kami. So yun yung mga dumating sa amin. So after just 1 week of stopping our operations, we immediately went back to the front lines and innovate so that we would be able to answer, address the current needs of our beneficiaries.
Mm.
So we did relief aid, we did clinics, we did online sessions. So ayan yung mga samples or photos of what we did during the COVID-19 pandemic. A lot of our activities were shifted online.
Mm.
But we also support the street children so that they could participate in these online sessions. So yun yung pinaka mga pangyayari with regards to our pandemic response in 2020, which is spilling over up to 2021. So part of the road to recovery that we have prepared in consultation also with the children and their families, because it's very important, no, that we uh, get what they need. We have a feel or a knowledge of what they need, and because they are part of this program, part of the initiatives. So it's continuing the Delivering Hope project, which is basically relief aid, strengthening the primary healthcare initiatives of the Clinicalia. So we continue to provide psychosocial interventions, most especially counseling and mental health awareness, because this has really greatly affected the psyche of not just street children per se, but everyone, I would suppose. More livelihood trainings and introduction to microfinance, especially those youth and parents who have lost their jobs, lost their source of income because of the pandemic, and scaling up of what we call the Calle Escuela Mobile Community Learning Hub to help in the education of our street children beneficiaries. Okay.
Wow.
So
Okay.
that's
Later we'll flash that,
That's a lot.
Doc. Later we'll flash
Yeah.
your contact details on
Mhm.
of Child Hope, para lang for those who want to help out and be part
Mhm. Want to
of
get
the
in touch?
solution. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sige, let's ask Doc some questions. Um,
Sige.
you want to
I'll
start,
start.
Ian?
Yeah. Okay. Doc, street children, they've needed to deal with a lot of challenges even before the pandemic. You mentioned in your discussion now that there were three particular concerns which they had to deal with because of the pandemic. Could we clarify how were these different before and during the pandemic? What changed for them?
So even before the pandemic, no, the first one, food security has always been a
Mm-hmm.
problem for the children and their families. No, they have meager resources. They live hand to mouth, and because of the pandemic, their source of income has really been stopped. So a lot of them, kasi halimbawa, they make a living through parking, 'di ba?
Mm-hmm.
Walang lumalabas, walang
Right.
walang pumupunta, sarado ang mall, sarado ang mga
Oo.
kainan. So,
Ah.
walang source of income. Or yung ibang natulungan namin through our other projects under the STEP program, like yung mga youth na nagkaroon na ng trabaho, na-lay off naman sila, especially because they are in the food industry, and a lot of these smaller industries where they work closed down because simply they cannot operate in this kind of situation. So yun yung loss of income, loss of employment, and that leads to food insecurity. The second one, health concerns. A lot of them do not understand what is COVID-19, how it spreads, how will it affect me? Am I going to die immediately? So yan yung mga concerns,
Mm.
lalo na ng mga bata. Imagine, 6-year-olds asking us, Doc, mamamatay na ba ako? Mamamatay ba ako dahil sa COVID-19? So yan yung mga concerns nila. Especially if meron sa kanilang sa community nila na nagkaroon ng COVID. So ang balita, 'di ba, madaling kumalat. So they're particularly concerned, mahahawa ba ako? Pag may namatay doon, naku, mangyayari din sa akin 'yan. Dok, anong gagawin ko? So those are the things with regards to health concerns.
Mm.
Fear and anxiety, which I like to emphasize also. Even the children are being subjected to this huge fear, and they're being anxious of what is going to happen in their lives in the future. Um, Tinatanong nila, they're afraid of what's going to happen with their relatives, with their families, with their friends. Are they still going to be able to continue schooling? Because naging ang shifting nga ng education was towards online learning. And how are they going to proceed with that? Wala silang resources. So, yun yung mga naging challenges at concerns ng mga street children and street families where they belong.
Okay, Doc. So, three major problems, right? Yung sa physical, yung sa food security ngayon, and then health, and then yung kanilang mental health. Doc, question lang, yung tungkol po dun sa, yun nga yung mga problema nila. How did they deal with it nung start before you were able to um, mediate or before you were able to go there sa areas nila? Paano nangyayari sa kanila, Doc, kumbaga nung pinuntahan ninyo? Ano yung condition nila?
Yes, oo. Especially dun sa mga nawalan ng trabaho or source of income, they would take their chances. Di ba, although meron kasing food aid coming from the government, it was very rare, and it was not that organized before during the start of the pandemic, no? So they would take their chances. Di bali nang mahuli kami, Doc, kasi kailangan naming lumabas. So a lot of them would go out to beg for money, or find scraps, or scavenge so that they could find some things to sell. But that also puts risk on them, and not just being apprehended by authorities, but also put risks on their health because they could contract the virus and get infected and spread it to their
Yeah.
families. So yun yung pinaka glaring na situation nila during that time. With regards to health, hirap na hirap sila because they can't seek proper consultation. A lot of them get sick, yung mga karaniwang illnesses, and they are afraid that it is also COVID related, but they can't go to the health center. Oh, kasi they can't go to the hospital because doon nakasiksik yung mga yung mga COVID cases. So those are the problems that they usually that's how they dealt with it. Yung tungkol naman sa mental health, a lot of them nagmumukmok lang. Kasi yung mga bata rin, sanay sila siguro that our social workers talk to them frequently because that's how they get updated of their situations in their families or in their lives. Pero bigla kasing naputol. So yun yung parang ang hirap, sanay ka na nakikipag-interact. Lalo na, ewan ko ba, yung mga bata talaga ngayon, bata namin, mga beneficiaries, madaldal sila eh. When we get to talk to them, they're always lively, saying their stories, or minsan mangangamusta lang. And that was stopped because of the quarantine
Mm.
measures. So, yun, yung mga challenges
Mm.
na pinaharap nila and how they dealt with it.
Okay. Paano ba yun, Doc? Kasi 'di ba, sorry, follow-up question lang.
Okay.
Doon sa mga, sabi mo yung mga street kids na wala talagang uuwian, paano yun? Saan sila pinatutuloy?
Mhm. Actually, maswerte na if the local government would actually put them in usually mga gymnasiums so that they could be housed there. Hirap din kasi nung time na yon in 2020, no, naging mahirap din humanap ng shelters for them to go to kasi una kailangan silang i-screen kung hindi ba sila COVID infected, because they're risking also the infection to be spread among
Right.
the residents of a particular center or shelter eh. So talagang mahirap. Ang ginagawa nila karamihan sa kanila, nagtatago kung saan-saan. Pag nakikita nila yung barangay or the police getting around, magtatago yan sa mga puno or sa if you go to Luneta, tago sila sa puno or kung saang mga sulok-sulok, even in drainage areas, if you go in up north in Caloocan, diyan sila nagsastay. So that alam nila na may risk sila, pero they can't do anything
Walang
about it.
choice.
Oo,
Oo.
walang choice eh.
Sa mga bahay ampunan ba, hindi ba sila pwede din doon?
Yun nga, actually not we don't have enough shelters around, especially in Metro Manila. And during the time of the pandemic, maraming naging restrictions kasi with regards to bringing them into the shelters. So particularly yun na nga, yung screening na
Okay.
oo, kailangan mo silang ipascreen. So
Okay.
pag positive, hindi rin tatanggapin. So ganun.
Yeah,
True.
it became more complicated. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay
Tsaka
ba
Mahirap
yung
yan?
din
basic,
humanap ng
yung social
shelter in the
distancing
first
din.
place. Oo,
Yeah.
tapos yun pa.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Ian.
Sige. Moving on to another question, Doc. Earlier you mentioned in your discussion na although na-interrupt yung services and activities natin, there was a need for you to continue. So I was wondering, what were the flexibilities and adjustments that you needed to apply, and where you saw opportunities for you to continue your activities?
Mhm. Yeah, I like that word, no. So we actually saw challenges as opportunities for improvement or innovation. So yun nga, first when we went back to the front lines or to the streets, we immediately thought of addressing food security. So we went back with the hashtag Delivering Hope Project, which aims to provide relief aid in terms of food packages and hygiene kits to the beneficiaries of Child Hopes program. Actually, hindi lang beneficiaries namin, na current yung natulungan namin. With the donations that came in, we were actually able to raise about 5.1 million for the hashtag Delivering Hope project. We were able to help also communities. Not just kung saan nandoon yung mga street children namin, but communities of urban poor. Nakapagpadala kami ng support for food packages to them. At least once to twice a month, hindi nila po problemahin yung supply nila ng pagkain. And that's also helping the government so that these people, kung meron silang bahay, could stay home and not go out and loiter around and risk of contracting the disease and bringing it to their families or communities. No? So that's what we did for food security. The other one is for education. Aside from shifting online, because we did an informal survey amongst our 600 beneficiaries, no, we actually found out that 60% of them have access to smartphones. yung pwedeng makapag-YouTube, pwedeng makapag-FB Messenger, no? The
Mm-mm.
only problem is yung load, yung mobile
Mm-mm.
credits
Galing.
so that they could
Mm-mm.
be able to do that. So what we did, we shifted a lot of our education sessions online. So the teachers, the street educators were able to make videos that the children will be watching, and then we send them mobile credits. So,
Mm-mm.
hihiramin nila yung mga phones ng nanay, tatay, kapitbahay at this
Mm-mm.
specific identified time. Tapos,
Mm-mm.
papadalahan namin ng load. Tapos, makakapag-nood sila at makakapag-participate live with their assigned teachers. So, that's one innovation that we did. Aside from that, when the school started in I think that was October or November of last year, we have a mobile education van which we redesigned into the Calle Escuela Mobile Community Learning Hub. So this addresses the need for access, like providing free internet, free Wi-Fi. We have printers to print out the modules. We have tablets and laptops that we bring to the area so that the children, syempre, still observing physical distancing and proper health protocols. So yun yung nagkakaroon sila ng opportunity to have access to those gadgets and to those technologies so that they could perform their learning tasks and submit on time. Because we were very bothered yung balita na merong isang estudyante who committed suicide because hindi siya nakapag-pass on time ng ng assignment niya sa teacher. So we were very bothered, and we don't want our children beneficiaries to suffer that, because yun na nga, mental health is already being challenged during these times, and we want to provide the all-out support for them. So
Mm-mm.
that's in terms of education, no. In terms of health, we also innovated to this is a first for Child Hope's mobile clinic. So we run a mobile clinic, but then we shifted for so many months to teleconsultation, telemedicine. So the same, we send mobile credits to the beneficiaries so that our doctor can call them, check them up, a limited check-up online. Pero nung nagluwag yung restrictions, bumalik din kami agad. Especially the clinic was one of the first ones to go back to the streets talaga physically. We just made sure that our clinic staff, the doctor and the EMT, dalawa lang kasi sila going to the area, were equipped with the prescribed PPEs. Oo,
Mm-mm.
naka level 3 PPE nga yan, yung bunny suit at saka yung protective shield and mask. Yun yung pinrovide namin, as well as ways to on how to provide hygiene for all our beneficiaries. So yun yung mga naging answers namin. And since maraming nawalan ng trabaho, we thought, ay, kailangan merong alternative to employment. Why not teach them entrepreneurship, livelihood? So dinamihan namin yung livelihood trainings, food preparation. Yan, yung mga importante, like maraming nag-ano, no, yung nagde-delivery. So merong bike repair. Tinuruan namin sila how they could register to Grab or Food Panda. Tinulungan namin sila diyan so that they could have an alternative way of earning a living, aside from their former employment. So yun yung mga particular innovations
Mm-mm.
that we did.
Congratulations, Doc, ha? Your team
Thank
is
you.
is really good. So, yung mga natatandaan ko, binibigyan ninyo ng load, yung mga may smartphones, which you realize 60% pala of your beneficiaries, your 600 beneficiaries, have smartphones, and you're able to send them videos. And then also yung van ninyo na merong eskwela, what do you call that
Calle
again?
Escuela.
Calle
Escuela.
Escuela.
Calle
Escuela.
Escuela.
Ayan.
Calle
So,
Escuela.
yun, Doc, ang tanong ko lang din sa social workers natin, those who are, the teachers who are in touch with the students, kasi sila mismo, di ba, you're facing although it's not the same gravity, like the street children, uh, meron ding challenges yung mga social workers. But how do you strengthen, kasi you pour into these children eh. So how are you able to strengthen naman yung mental health of your educators and your social workers?
Mm-mm. Actually, we did a mental health awareness webinar prior to them going back to their full schedule of doing the online sessions. We had to let them realize that, hey, these are the things that you should watch out for. When you say that, when you feel these things, you already need to seek help, and that you could share your experiences. Hindi ka nag-iisa. We're a team with Child Hope. So what we did is we did the mental health awareness webinar, and that has really impacted most of the staff, because they themselves, as you've said, are experiencing challenges. Hindi kami immune, especially ang aming teachers and social workers, dahil sila yung mas nakakalahalubilo ng mga bata when it comes to doing their conducting the sessions with them. So yun yung isang way to help them address that particular challenge.
Right. Okay. Ian? Thanks, Doc.
Um, Thanks, Doc. In terms of what you need naman as Child Hope, what are the empowering tools that you need so that activities to carry out your activities?
Unang-una, I think it would be support for education, really. Second is nutritional food support. And then third one would be especially healthcare. Because we go, as I've said, we go by the caring, healing, teaching pillars. No? So hindi dapat may naiiwan na aspect in terms of addressing the needs of the child. Instead, simultaneous dapat ito na ina-address. How could you educate a sickly child? Diba? So you need to, before you could educate, you need to also address the health concerns. So yun yung mga bagay na yun. And kung marami siyang baggages na iniisip, how could they learn? Diba? If yung family nila, iniisip nila na nagkakasakit yung nanay at tatay ko, may sakit yung kapatid ko. So that is also something that you need to address, because essentially, even if these children are considered street children, but they still have families with them or relatives, they're still concerned with the welfare of their family members. You cannot actually, the best way to nurture a child actually is within his family still. So that's what we try to provide, not only directly to the beneficiaries, street children, but indirectly to also support the needs of their families in general.
Right. Okay. Wow. Thank you. So, Doc, how can we help Child Hope? How can we be of support to your endeavors? Yung ang gaganda ng projects ninyo. So, how can we get in touch with you and how can we help?
Okay, so aside from monetary and in-kind donations, which all nonprofits, not NGOs, really need to be able to continue with the programs, we would like to emphasize that we need volunteers also. We provide opportunities actually for volunteerism amidst the pandemic na hindi sila pwedeng halubilo physically, no? Nakakatuwa that a lot of our volunteers, we were able to mobilize to, halimbawa, make the videos that the children watch for their alternative education sessions. Yon yung isang way to help them out. Some of them would make brochures or infographics that we give out and to children when we are explaining about the COVID-19 pandemic, about the importance of vaccines, about the importance of personal hygiene. So we use these tools that are made by our volunteers to be able to educate our children. Tsaka yung simpleng halimbawa, kumustahan with the children, merong volunteer na gustong kausapin yung mga batang nag-aaral, yun napaka gandang paraan para mapagaan yung loob ng mga bata because um, they realize that outside of the Child Hope team, the Child Hope family, there are still people out there who are very well who are on the lookout for their welfare at interested and very caring enough to know their situation. The third one is about volunteerism, simply talking about the situation of street children and putting them at the forefront of conversations, even with your friends, your relatives. It helps greatly to advance the advocacy on the plight of street children already. So that's how those are the empowerment support actually that we need right now.
Okay. So Doc, para dun sa mga work from home naman tayo, most of us, 'di ba? So if let's give a portion of our time to volunteer sa Child Hope. Sabi ni Doc, pwedeng, if you're good in graphics, you can create their educational materials, or you can volunteer as someone who would just be there to listen to the children, to talk to them, nangungumusta lang, 'di ba? Or pwede rin maging teacher. Of course, dun sa extra din natin, income, yung kung meron man tayong extra na lahat naman kulang ngayon, 'di ba? Pero kung meron tayong binless ka ngayon, kasi sa crisis, 'di ba, it's either, well, bumaba yung income mo, or baka naman naging maganda yung buhay mo because of a business that you're doing right now, which is flourishing in this pandemic. Then, Child Hope can be one of your beneficiaries. Please help the street kids. Kasi noon pa lang, ano na yung situation nila, it was really bad na ano pa kaya ngayon, 'di ba? So
Yeah.
yeah, we are talking about it, sabi nga ni Doc, and we're so glad to be part of the conversation, Doc. Na pinag-uusapan natin sila, the plight of these street kids, so that there may be changes, or they can get the help that they need.
Yeah. Thank you
Uh,
very much for this wonderful opportunity.
Thank you, Doc, and God bless you and your team. Ang dami mong mga nagko-comment sa'yo, mga nagpapa-shoutout sa'yo na mga may mga nagbigay ng comments. We were able to flash the comments earlier. So, Doc, thank you so much. Ian, do you have anything to add? Nagfa-freeze yata tayo kay Ian. Do you have anything to add? Okay ka na?
It's yeah, it's so great to see all these people supporting, and we're very happy to be supporting you as well, in your mission and in your vision.
All right. Thank you so much, Doc, and God bless you. Huwag ka
Thank
magkakasakit,
you.
Doc. Kailangan ka ng kids.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you
Stay
Okay,
also.
safe
God.
and well po kayong lahat.
Thank you. God bless you. All right.
Thank
So,
you.
for our viewers, please contact Child Hope Philippines Foundation Incorporated. So that's their website. And also, meron din silang Facebook account. You can see their activities there. Facebook slash Child Hope PH. Ian, what is your takeaway from
PH.
tonight? So,
Here.
thank you so much to our guest, Dr. Carpio.
Yeah. My
Ian.
takeaway is simply, okay, a simple reminder to me that street kids, we have known and seen them each and every day, but to take a moment to recognize them, to respect what they're going through, and find a way uh, to be part of the solution. Even if it's just a simple looking them in the eye when they knock on the window. If there's something to give, give. If not, at least look them in the eye and acknowledge and give them hope by recognizing that they exist and we are one with them in their situation. So for me, that's my takeaway. It's a call for me to remind myself
Beautiful.
as well as remind others.
Beautiful. They will be part of my prayers. Kasi right now, dapat ang prayer is our first thing that we will do. First response, not the
Mhm.
last resort. It's our first response prayer.
Correct.
So tonight
Exactly.
na-add yun sa akin in my prayer list yung ating street kids and of course Child Hope who is helping them out kasi they have a good program and they already know may template na
Mhm.
sila on how to actually help the kids and they've produced children na
Mhm.
ngayon ano na who are adults who are actually doing good in life
Mhm.
and in
Yes.
society. So thank you so much for all of you
Mhm.
who
Yeah.
gave who typed
We
in their
tuned in tonight.
comments
Yeah.
and tuned in tonight.
Mhm.
God bless you and please help out Child Hope ha.
Mhm.
Kung ano to, mangungumusta sa
Mhm.
mga bata, yung mga gagawa ng mga graphics nila for their modules. And yeah, please
Oh,
support them all. Please
there are a lot
support
of ways
them.
to help.
Okay, so
Oh, in
God
fact,
bless you.
just a
Yes,
reminder.
yes.
Um, we want to also recognize pandemic wins. Over the year, we've had people share their ups and downs, but we wanted to particularly share people's pandemic wins. So we're hoping people will share them with us so that we can remind everyone that despite the pandemic, there's still a win. It's still possible.
Right. So we will, like what Ian said at the end of the show, we will flash your pandemic wins. Share them with us. Message us here on Sustainable PH or both on Facebook or YouTube. Message us, and we will feature your pandemic wins. Share them with us. So again, thank you so much, everybody, for watching. And
Great.
we are going to end this show with one of our supporters. Thanks, Ian. Thank you. Let me
Thank you so much.
just
Good
do
night.
this. Okay, thank you.